All right, let's change this. Oh, that's right, because I changed. All right, change that stream title to say working in Blender. All right. There's my chat. I want all chat. Live chat. Get rid of this. Yeah, okay, that's fine. All right. Hopefully, if I go to my own YouTube channel, is that going to be there? YouTube.com. And I go to myself. Like, am I live right now? Did this go out on the right channel? To your channel. Yes, okay. There it is. Brilliant. Hopefully people can hear me. I mean, people. There's nobody here. Actually, I probably should have that open on the other screen so that I can see if people are here. Because this will only show me who's commenting, and not everybody wants to comment when they join in the live stream. So let's get Blender open. And let's get my live stream open on this monitor in just a moment. View your channel. There it is. So no, I need to mute myself before I shoot myself. Okay. Sweet. Sweet. Does this tell me? Does this show me how many people are watching though? You'd think it would. You'd think somewhere there would be the little people icon and it would show me how many people are here, but it doesn't seem to do that. It's fine. It's fine. I'm just going to go to general, and what I'm trying to do is make one of these kinds of covers for my pyrex lid, for a pyrex this size. I'm going to make it out of TPU, and oh, there's a lot of lag on that. Did I forget to say that it's fine? This is all fine. So what I need to do is measure a bunch of stuff. This container, outer diameter, turn it on at zero it, okay. So the outer diameter of this is, just move it past until, call it 120 millimeters, roughly. 119.8 millimeters. Call it 120 millimeters. So let's get rid of this cube, get rid of this camera, get rid of this light. Shift A to add a new cylinder, cylinder, which is going to be, let's bring up the properties here. Let's make it 128 vertices so that it's roundish. The radius, if this was what, 120 millimeters, so we'll make it 60 millimeter radius. And then the depth on this existing lid, how deep were you? 10 millimeters. Depth will be 10. Okay, so that is basically the lid, but there's more we have to do. So we need to hollow this thing out. So I think it was hard to measure the thickness of this stuff. I'm going to call it 1.5 millimeters wide, thick. So that's actually, this is the actual size of the bowl. So I need to make something that's like 3 millimeters bigger than this. Let's just Shift D to duplicate that. And then we'll go to the properties. We'll change this to be 123 to 123. So that's like the size of the lid there. And then we'll just Boolean the other one out of it. But I need to move it up by 1.5 so that I have that thickness all the way around. So that's going to be like my final lid. So I'm going to go here add a Boolean modifier, and we're going to erase out cylinder. And if I hide the original cylinder, I now have my lid. Brilliant. And I think I'm going to apply that because I'm good with that. And we're going to have to go into edit mode and taper this thing, I think. But if I'm going to make this a vacuum, I think I need to add like a second wall to it. Maybe I should do that first. So now what I need to do is measure how thick this is. The glass here, it's like 4.5 millimeters thick. So I need to do another 120 millimeter cylinder. Take my original cylinder here. Let's duplicate that. So we'll bring it back. What did I want to do? I duplicate that again. But this time I want to make it, so that's the diameter of this piece. So now I need to make it 9 millimeters smaller, right? Because it's going to be 4.5. Let's make that 111. Right? And then we'll, if I hide this cylinder, what do I have? Okay, right. So now I just need to duplicate this one and make it another 3 millimeters smaller than that. So do that. And now we're going to subtract another 3. See what we're doing here. So that's going to be 108, 108. Okay. Now this cylinder we need to add a Boolean to get rid of cylinder 3. And I should be naming these. But if we hide cylinder 3 now I have this like double-walled lid. If I look at it, but that one sticks up higher. Oh, right, because I need to actually bring these back down to 0, I think. Right? Right, okay. So now I have this like double-walled lid thing. And that's going to be helpful for the, like if I make this vacuum seal, right? How's that going to work? So yeah, we only need to suck the air out of this inner piece. This is just here to like seal the top. But now we need to, so let's apply all these Booleans. I feel like we need to do an additive Boolean on that too. So let's Shift D that guy. We're going to do a union on cylinder 2. And we're going to hide cylinder 2. Okay, so this is one piece of mesh now. Once I apply those Booleans, right? If I go to like edit mode, oh no, because I haven't applied them, right? So I can't go to edit mode. But I think that's kind of what I want for a finished shape. And then I'm going to taper these together a little bit. So I'll just expand this out, shrink this one in so that they kind of squeeze it. And then I've got to figure out how to do the vacuum seal lid part. But I think that's what I want to do. So let me apply, there's no modifiers on that. Let's apply that modifier first. No modifiers, and then let's apply these modifiers. I could just do Control A, I realized, but okay. So now this cylinder 1 should just be one mesh. Perfect. I like that. I like that a lot. Now, 7 will give me top-down view. Okay. What's next? So I kind of need to grow this upper ring. So I don't want to be in X-ray mode. I only want, so what is it, if I like Shift or Alt? Alt will get that whole loop except for that bit. Okay. And I also want to get that loop and that loop. Now, that should only be the top vertices, right? If I go to side view, no, reselect, one, side view, X-ray mode. All right, so it only has the top vertices. And I want to scale them, but like I want to scale them not by a percentage, but by like a distance. I know there's a way to do that. But maybe I can just scale them up just a little bit. Maybe it doesn't have to be like mathematically perfect. Okay. Then we'll do the same thing with these outer loops. So select U with Alt, and U with Alt. U, nope, not that. Yeah, okay. Okay. All right, Control Z. Okay. That has, I did not get the bottom ring. Okay. So now I want to scale this one. Go back to 7. Scale you down just a little bit. So now those are tapered to help it hug the glass a bit. I might want to bring these ones back in. This is pretty thick. Great, I lost track of. Oh, turn off X-ray mode. That's what's messing me up here. Okay. So I need like the second and third ring in this. This should be, so Alt, grab that. Oh, should I be in edges mode? And then that one. That one. I think those are the tops. Yeah. So I'm gonna go back into X-ray mode so I can see everything. Make it just, yeah, just, I don't want it to overhang quite so much. I want to squeeze just a little bit. Okay. I think that's good for the lid part of it. And now I need to put a hole through it, right? That I can suck the air out of. Oh, where's my vacuum pump? I gotta go get my vacuum pump. Stand by. Stand by. I'll be right back. Okay. Sorry about that. So I got this little rechargeable vacuum pump. It's not Swedish made. But this is what's going to fit on the lid like this, right? So I need to cut a hole in the lid that this will fit into. But also, like, there has to be a flap, like when this prints. So a flap that goes up or something so that air can get out. So first of all, let's just figure out how we're going to do this bit, and then we'll figure the rest of that out. So let's measure this diameter. And that's 39.7. Why is everything such a weird number of millimeters? 39.7 millimeters? Okay. That does have to be pretty exact, right? So if anything, I should make it like 39.5. So it's a little bit snug. So let's make a hole that goes through this in the middle. Not in edit mode. So now we're in object mode. Go back to rendered view. So now we want to put a hole through this 39.5. Shift A. Let's add a new cylinder. Let's rename all this stuff first. So this one, this is like the outer edge. And then this one, this is like the final lid. Final mesh. This guy here, that's like the inner radius. And then this one is like the inner wall. Inner wall cutter. That doesn't need to be anything, because just so I stay organized. Let's add a new mesh cylinder. But this cylinder, what did I say, 39.5? And let's just go by actual dimensions and not radius, so I don't have to do the math. And that needs to cut all the way through. So if that goes down to 0, okay, that will cut all the way through. It doesn't have to be that big, but this is the vacuum hole cutter, right? And if we go back to our final mesh and add a modifier, the Boolean, to take out the vacuum hole cutter, then we hide the vacuum hole cutter. So now we've got that hole in our lid, right? But we don't want it to be a complete hole, right? We want it maybe it doesn't need to be that big. It only has to be big enough to let air out. Yeah, maybe it shouldn't be close to that big. Vacuum hole cutter. Because this doesn't have to be like centered over it. Like, it would be great if I could have like a crease or something, but this is going to be on the build plate, so unless I want to put supports on this whole thing, that's not going to work. So let's make this smaller. Let's make it closer to that inner diameter maybe, or even smaller than that. It just has to let air out, right? So that's only 26 millimeters for that inner diameter. But it doesn't even have to be that big. So what's going to happen? It needs to... How am I going to put a flap on this? I'm not going to be able to, because the flap has to be on the top, because there's going to be negative pressure inside. So, and this is going to be on the build plate, so I can't put anything up there. Is this even possible? build some sort of intricate like Tesla valve. Even that's not perfect. How do we seal this? I could print it in 2 pieces and then like epoxy it or whatever, but how do I make it so that it can suck air in and then close again if this is the bottom of the build plate? And the first thing is this definitely has to be smaller because that has to fit inside this little hole here, right? I was measuring this outer diameter, but I need to measure the inner diameter if we're going to put a flap on it because it has to be able to get sucked up into that. So that's like 20, we'll just do 25.5. So the vacuum hole cutter actually has to be 25.5. Like that. It still doesn't solve the problem. It just gets me closer to the final look. If I made it, no, I can't. I can't do anything that sticks up unless I use a ton of supports. Unless I make it in 2 pieces and then glue it. I don't want to glue it. How else could this work? It doesn't have to be in the center. It needs to have something that can like obviously like fold up when the suction's on it to let air out, but then as soon as you stop the suction, the negative pressure inside, or I guess the higher pressure outside, will keep it closed. I don't know how to do that 3D printing it unless I put supports on this whole thing. I don't want to do TPU supports. Maybe do something with bridges. I don't know how bridges work with TPU. But like if I made the whole bottom of this like kind of flush, but then built up in here so that there was separation, and just don't do it so high that it needs supports. But I don't know how that would work. What's my other option? What other options do I have? Like, how does the jar do it? The jar works because it has that top lid. So as it's sucking air out, the top lid, there's less pressure above the lid than there is in the jar. Then as soon as you release that, there's less pressure in the jar than there is above, and the lid reseals itself. So that's like all one piece. And that's kind of what I'm trying to accomplish here. I'd have to build what if I do that same thing? What if I build like a ridge in here that I could put like a PLA hard piece in that the pressure would seal it down to? I just don't know that it's going to be an airtight seal with TPU anyway. I just want to marinate chicken. That's all I want to do. If I build like a bigger ridge around this, right, and then somehow get like a PLA separately printed like ring that goes inside it that will clamp down on the lower pressure. that might work. So how do we do that? We've already got the cutter here, right? So I have to build up, I need to build like a bigger ring that will be hollow. Oh yeah, then we will have to, won't have to have supports. I guess if it's not too big, it might be able to print. Right? So I just need like a. All right, let's start with that. Let's duplicate that and make it a little bit bigger by, what would we say, like 325.5. So we'll make that 28.5, 28.5. And we want this to be not 10 millimeters, like 5 millimeters. But it needs to be, the Z on this was, how thick was this, like 3.5? Is that what I said? So 3.5, so this is gonna come down 2.5 from its center. So it'd be 5.5. I could probably eyeball it and then figure out what's close. So if we just move this down on the Z to like there, -1, okay, that works. So now that's that bit, and then we need to, so this is like the outer vacuum ring, right? And now this needs to, we hide the vacuum hole cutter and we add a Boolean to remove the vacuum hole cutter. Okay, so now we've got that. And now we essentially need is to duplicate the vacuum ring and make it even smaller, right? Hide that. We need to make it like 3 millimeters is so small. Maybe this does need to be the outer vacuum ring. Maybe it does need to be more. Maybe it needs to be more like 8. And now I need to go back to here and figure out. I gotta move it up. Is it 0.5? Is that right? X-ray mode? Yeah, that's sitting there. Okay. Okay. Wait, is that, yeah, that's cutting all the way through, right? Turn off X-ray mode, that's confusing me. Okay. So that's sitting on that. And then this other one I just put in. Okay. So this guy, that needs to sit up at like 0. What does that do? 0.5. Okay. But we need to bring this in. Okay. So that now, vacuum ring is there. Outer vacuum ring 1. So we need to make that just a little bit smaller. Like 27 by 27, right? And because like I need, so now if vacuum ring, we duplicate that Boolean, and now we get rid of that, we hide that. Did that work? That didn't work. Why didn't that work? Vacuum ring 1. Oh, because it's, I needed to go bigger with it, not smaller. No. What's happening here? Oh. Let's get rid of this Boolean. Okay. So now this bad boy, that's why. Now this. Now if we hide that. Okay, now we've got this inner ring, which is hard to see. Let me turn off the overlays. It's very small. Why is it so small? Oh, it isn't. It's just, okay, so there's the top of it. Okay, so this is this ledge. If we, so like, you can put like a TPU thing that sits in here. I mean, a PLA ring that sits in here. And maybe seals it. Right? That's maybe too tall. How tall is this vacuum ring 1? So this is going to be like the stopper channel, right? And that's 5 millimeters, so maybe that's too much. That should be like 3 millimeters. Yeah. And let's, that should be good. And that's 123. Oh no, what's the, it's 27. The outer vacuum ring is 28.5, so that's like 1.5 millimeter wall. Okay. This might work. And then I just have to print like a little disc to go in there. Let's save this as small pyrex vacuum lid. Save Blender file. Okay. This may work. This may work. And the other bit I need is a, what is this? So that cutter, vacuum hole cutter is 25.5. So I need to print like a 25 millimeter. 25 millimeter? Yeah. 25 millimeter stopper channel. So the stopper channel is 27. Yeah, so we'll make it like a 26 millimeter. So it's bigger, 26. So it's bigger, but not too much bigger. That's the other part of this, and we'll just cut them apart in. So we need to add a mesh, a cylinder. That's going to be 26 by 26 by like 2. And let's get that over here, right? And then, so the final mesh, so if I go to like, okay, so those are not both sitting on the same, but that's okay, because I'm going to cut them up. I mean, they should be. I think that was minus 1.5. Put my overlays back on. Doesn't really matter, because this will put it on the floor, but I think the best laid plans, right? And I should put some like words in that. This is like vacuum suck or something. I'm going to cut these apart because they have to be printed differently because my printer can't do 2 different materials. So let's save this. Let's export the STL. Let's bring this into Bamboo Studio. No. Prepare. Let's go to my D drive. Let's drop that there. Let's cut. Where's cut? Cut. Rotate that up 90. Right? 90. And let's bring that over to cut that piece out. Okay. So now, perform cut. Let's get you, sir. Get you out of there. Let's center this, right? We're going to change this to TPU. Why can't I? Let's do TPU. All right. It's not going to be that right TPU, but we'll go for it. And now if I slice this, perfect. I am thinking that what is the let me put the TPU into my printer and wash my plate and put some glue down on it. And we will try this. I've got a meeting in a half hour, so if anybody does stop by for that, thanks for stopping by. And this was fun.